Welcome in, latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. Go by SEC Mike on the Twitters. And you may be wondering, I know you got a question on the tip of your tongue if you're watching this live. Where is Cousin Shane, the Tennessee homer? Well, he is nowhere to be found. Told me he's going to be a little late for this episode of the show. So... hopefully not too long, because we got a lot of great stuff to talk about. We're calling it a November to remember here in the SEC. So, I don't want to sit here and just twiddle my thumbs. So how about this? I'm going to power rank Halloween candies, my favorite Halloween candies here. Before Cousin, and you know, I know Cousin Shane's going to be pretty pissed that he missed this one, because that's all he wants to talk about is candy and food, but he's on a diet. He's trying to get his steps in, so he does not need to be a part of this candy discussion. So without further ado, the Halloween power rankings, and these are my rankings. You can disagree in the comments, but I'm going to start. I usually start at the bottom of the list. I'm going to go top of the list first. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, number one, undefeated. If Reese's is not number one, I don't know that we can be friends, unless you got some kind of chocolate or peanut butter allergy, and in that case, I just feel bad for you. So, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, far and away. And I'm talking about, I'll go full candy bar any day of the week, but I'm trying to put this into the mindset of actually trick-or-treating. I don't anymore. I'm 40 years old now, but I did about 3 years ago. So I'm talking about the small size ones. These are small, the party size, whatever you want to call it, fun size. I thought that was a wrong way to call it. You can't call it fun, because I always had less fun than when I had the full one, but party size, what have you. Reese's number one. Snickers number two. Give me a Snickers any day of the week. I'm trying to keep up with these comments too. He says, I'll do Cousin Shane steps for him if he keeps picking against the Aggies. and Rod, this is a good one too. Shane only has 20 steps in of 10,000. All right, sorry. Back to the power ranks. Number two, Snickers. Number three, Twix. Twix is number three in the Halloween candy power rankings. How about Butterfinger? I've always been partial to Butterfinger number four. The only problem with Butterfinger, they get stuck in your teeth. So that's why I knocked them a couple spots on a neutral site. Reese's, Snickers, and Twix is taking Butterfinger out. Number five, give me Kit Kat, like that Crunch. As you can sense a theme here, I like chocolate. I'm a bigger guy. I didn't even need to tell you that. You already knew that. Three Musketeers. How about give me them, number six. Milk Duds. Number seven, you want to blow your mind, throw in some Milk Duds in some popcorn. I'd recently discovered this about a year ago, and that's like my favorite treat now. M&M's number eight. I think M&M's are overrated, but again, I'm a big fat guy. I like chocolate, so you got to put M&M's on the list. I like the peanut butter M&M's better than any M&M's, but don't really recall seeing those for Halloween. Number nine, give me Tootsie Roll. Probably no, I don't even know if I'd eat a Tootsie Roll these days, but as a kid, I loved them. Used to pretend they were a cigar, and now that Tennessee beats Alabama 2 out of 3, so get your kids, used to that. I think that's going to be the way it is for the rest of time, so give them that Tootsie Roll. And then how about Hot Tamales, rounding out the top 10 of the Halloween candy power rankings. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Michael Rowley, I bet Napier likes candy corn. Exactly. Get that garbage out of here. We don't want no candy corn. I missed some supers. I appreciate you. Oh, man, what a guy. JR. Cousin Shade may not show up to this show, but Cousin JR shows up every time. He just gifted a membership. We thank you, Cousin JR. This time to All Real Texan. Appreciate you, Cousin JR, and All Real Texan. Welcome to the family. DJ, he also became a member. We appreciate you, DJ. Welcome. And great time to remind everybody, tomorrow we're going to do another family reunion. So if you're a member, your official member of the channel, we're going to provide that link to you. I'll probably put it up in the morning. The only members can see it. And this will be after. We still have 2 shows tomorrow. So it'll be around 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. We will go and do the next family reunion right before Halloween's right around the corner. JP, appreciate you, brother. He just became a member of the channel. I hope to see each and every one of you over at the family reunion tomorrow. And then shout out Razor Bass 904, who creatively gave us 904 donation. Taylen Green wins Walter Camp SEC Offensive Player of the Week, and Mizzou sucks again. Life is good. Let's fucking go, he says. So, ooh, Razor Bass, appreciate you. And how about this? I've been working up some graphics, and funny you say Taylen Green. He's the only one that I have completed these for so far. But I'm going to work these up for all the quarterbacks. But I just so happened to finish this Taylen Green one right before hopping on. But yeah, I mean, he's killing it. And he's getting better and better each week. That is going to be a talking point when we preview Ole Miss at Arkansas here in just a moment. But from a guy that I was told could not an accurate passer, inconsistent, he's getting more and more consistent seemingly as the weeks go on, as the competition gets tougher and tougher and tougher. And if Arkansas is going to beat some of these teams like an Ole Miss, like a Texas, Taylen Green's going to have to play his best football. But good thing is, I mean, he is. Whoa, why did I throw Ole Miss up here? He is getting better and better as the season comes along here when he's healthy. I don't think he was truly healthy against LSU, and I think we could all see that. But when he is healthy, he's amazing. So Taylen Green, shout out to you. Wish I could shout out Cousin Shane, but he is still not here. I mean, we only asked the guy to show up 1 hour a day, 4 times a week. You think that he better have a good excuse? I think maybe he's out there walking, getting those. Arkansas go beat the hell out of Lane Whiffen. Speaking of Lane Whiffen, I'm getting tired of waiting on Shane. How about this one? Because I was gonna talk about this anyway. But Lane Kiffin found something new to complain about. Georgia game in Oxford. That's gonna be their marquee game. It's gonna be a 2:30 Central kick, 3:30 Eastern. Lane Kiffin ain't happy, and he's pointing a finger at LSU once again.
And they just announced November 9th kickoffs, 2:30 for y'all against Georgia. So you got 2 morning, 2 afternoon kicks left. From your perspective or coaching perspective, is there any advantage at all to playing day to tonight kickoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's proven over time in NFL and college, playing at night in electric atmospheres is a home field advantage, and tough when you got to do that as a opposing team. So that's been proven for a long time. And so who won at night? LSU gets to play at night again, I guess. Shocker. So that's 2 for 2 for them. It is an advantage. I feel bad for our fans, to not have one night conference game is really unfortunate for them, and so whatever. It's just really disappointing, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Shout out to Cousin Anthony. He says Shane's trying to start the dryer so he could throw his Fitbit in there or whatever. But I like the fact Kiffin is kind of fighting for the fans here, because that is kind of bullshit here. Let's throw up Ole Miss schedule. But I mean, each team should have get at minimum 1 night game at home in conference play, and maybe the Egg Bowl. I don't think that's going to be a night game either. So yeah, tough luck of the draw there for Ole Miss. But in reality, I think we all know had they beaten Kentucky, had they beaten LSU, and maybe you could say they shouldn't have beat LSU, maybe, but I think they should have. They failed to execute, but they certainly should have beat Kentucky. Had they take care of those teams, that game guaranteed would have been the night game over Alabama at LSU. Ole Miss and Georgia may be better, both of them, than Alabama, LSU, but they're just not the name brands. Georgia is, but Ole Miss is not in that conversation. So what do you have to do? You have to win these games and make these games important. So again, I'm talking out both sides of my mouth, skeleton mouth here. But I like that he's fighting for the fans. But at the same time, he's got to win. He's got to deliver. Otherwise, this is just Lane whiffing, being more whiffing here, bitching about something that he had complete control over. Yet he whiffed yet again, like he does every year, and that's why they're not getting the night game. So, Malcolm, I'm throwing trash on Saturday. Maybe that's what the Ole Miss fans should do. Just throw trash until they move it to a night game here. Liquid, appreciate you. Early candidate comment of the night says Shane is putting the finishing touches on his face paint. I don't think Shane showed up with face paint. I didn't tell him that. I sprung this on him the last minute here when he did let me know about 30 minutes ago. He said he's going to be late. So I said, well, I got to entertain the cousins somehow. And just looking at my face ain't going to do it unless I paint here something. What else? All right, Shane, we are well past the time he said he was going to be late, and he's still not on here. Let's see. I'm going to text him. This is great radio here. Texting Cousin Shane to say, where the hell are you? Oh, there he is. Oh, buddy. He doesn't have his mic on yet, but it's still already funny.
What's going on?
Everybody wants to know why the hell were you late? Were you walking? Is your Fitbit in the dryer? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm in the emergency room. I just got out of the emergency room. No, all these steps here. I can't breathe in this thing. Let me get this off. You there?
Yeah, they're saying your makeup artist is fired. They took too long.
No, we had the girls. We took the girls to the pumpkin patch, and you know how that is, Mike.
Oh,
you
God.
know, can't do it on the weekend. We got to do it during the week. But man, it took a little longer than expected. So
You had all day to do that yesterday, didn't you?
yesterday, no, we did. I don't know what we did yesterday. I'm sure it was something important, but walking these damn steps. I tell you what, 10,000 steps. You just think, I don't know how normal people do it, you know, and they just look up and they're like, hey, I do 10,000 steps every day. And I was like, I don't understand how you do that. It's everything I could do to get, I'm right now sitting at about 7,000. So we get done here, Mike. My day's not over. I got to walk 3,000 more steps because of Texas A&M. So I may be pulling for South Carolina Saturday, Mike.
Torrance says your waitress was late with the check at the Waffle House. That's what it was.
That's it. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Well, hey, you look good, man.
Yeah. Painted up here.
Yeah, that took some time, Mike. You put some effort into this thing.
Yeah, one of us has got to. You know what?
Yeah, I'm 10 minutes late and I have no makeup, you know?
But hey, buddy, I reminded all the cousins out there, remember, we got family reunion tomorrow.
Yep.
Unless Shane's going to be at another pumpkin patch.
Nah.
It'll be around 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central after the mailbag show. So tune in for that. And I power ranked Halloween candy, Shane. I don't know if you want a recap of that real quick.
Right now you got it?
Well, I already did it. I did it while you were gone.
What's your top three?
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Is this the order?
Yeah, that's number
Okay,
one.
number one.
That's undisputed national champion. Snickers, number 2. And give me Twix, number 3.
Okay, I get behind that. I like the chocolate. I'm with you. I'm all in the chocolate side here. I would go Reese Cups. Damn, I'd go Reese Cups number 1. You know, one of the things I do like, I guess the older I've gotten, is the individual Hershey's. You know, so we've got some with the almonds in them, some with the dark chocolate, that sort of thing. I maybe as a younger kid didn't appreciate it as much, but the older I've gotten, it's kind of moved up in my top 3.
Do you have a favorite though? That's key because you're right. There's milk chocolate, there's dark chocolate, there's almond, there's mint, there's white chocolate. You know, there's so many different ones you could go with.
I don't even know if this is Halloween. You know, we may be off path here, but those little treasures they got with I think it's an almond crunch in it. You know, it's you ever seen them? They're in the little gold little packs. They're not like the regular ones. They're just a little bit thicker. Have you seen? They're called treasures. And they got a crunch. I think it's an almond. It's some sort of nut, but that one's
You
the
and
number
I
one.
treasure different things, Shane. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah, hey, peanut. I like peanut M&Ms. You know,
Yep.
Reese cups. Those are wins. Twix, Kit Kats are good. You know, I can handle any of those. But now when you start getting into some of those caramels, like the Rolos and stuff like that, I'll eat them. Don't get me wrong, but it's like the last thing I'm eating. You know.
Maybe here's a more difficult question for you. When's the last time and what was it that you turned down a candy?
Oh.
Like, is there something? And you can't say candy corn because we all know
like
you hate
Milk
candy
Duds. I think I turned down Milk Duds. Tootsie Roll, any of that stuff. Yeah. So my kid, even though she's older and shouldn't be doing this, but they went out and did trunk or treat. And that's one of the things about trick or treat. It's like you can't do it now, but you can steal your kids' candy, you know? And so you kind of go with
or
what
buy your own.
I don't know. There's just something about it, you know. It's just the hodgepodge. It's like you open it up and there's Twizzlers, there's Skittles, there's Now and Laters, there's peanut butter chocolate. It's so you're just kind of picking and choosing, and it's funny because you always have to choose a path. You can't have Twizzlers and then eat chocolate. It's just like you got to either go down the sweet gummy side, and sometimes I like that. But when I did a Now and Later, it was like a 2-pack, and after I ate the one, I was like, man, I'm over on I moved on, man. You know, when you hit 40, you just can't do Now and Laters anymore.
Well, Shane, we better talk some SEC football now, not later, before we lose all the cousins here. But real quick, shout out Cousin JP. He just gifted a membership to Cousin Jamie. Jamie, welcome to the
Jamie.
family. Hopefully, we'll see y'all at the family reunion tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And then I was waiting for you, Shane. But, shout out Richard Johnson, too. He became a member. Appreciate you,
Hey,
Richard. But don't forget, like the video. And MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie. I've been waiting for you, Shane, to say fade Cousin Shane's picks over at MyBookie with that promo code. That SEC, THAT over at MyBookie will get you 100% instant deposit match today. And we're going to break down these games now, Shane. How about it?
Let's do it.
All right. So this one. Oh, buddy. You already kind of referenced it. A&M at South Carolina here. Number 10, A&M on top of the world, on top of the SEC, Shane. Night game, though. This is going to be one wild atmosphere. And how about it? I never in a million years, Shane, would I have believed that heading into November, Texas A&M leads the conference in scoring in SEC games, over 33 points per game. Their third down conversions, number 2 in the SEC. They are red hot. Everybody, and for good reason, credits Mike Elko and the defense for all this. But it's offense, and they're doing it with, multiple quarterbacks. Some of these teams in this conference don't have one quarterback. They got 2. But, man, is it going to be more difficult, you think, now that we're sitting here and they got the target on their back, and this is not a game that'll break South Carolina, but it could be a game that could make South Carolina, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've talked about this with South Carolina. They're a team that a couple balls bounce their way, they would also be top 25 in this matchup. So you got to, I say pretend, but I'm using that loosely. You got to pretend as if they are, because this is a football team that can easily knock you off. All it takes is you not being on your game. All it is Texas A&M coming in here maybe a little too cocky, maybe a little overconfident, just we all do this. After a big win, you're going into your next opponent, you're looking at it, and you're looking at their wins and losses, and you're saying, "Oh, we can steamroll these guys." But any time that you walk into William Bryce and you try to pull that off, Mike, this is a football it's an injured animal that you don't want to get near, because it is going to lash out. I'm not saying it's their Super Bowl, but this is an opportunity for people to start talking about South Carolina again. So yes, this is a dangerous matchup.
And everybody in the comments, Shane, they're begging you to pick South Carolina to win this football game.
Shit, I'm about to pick Texas A&M, so I ain't got to walk no more,
But what do they say, Shane? What do they say about November, let's kick it over. I titled the episode. I know you never look at those things, but Shane Beamer's going to let you know, buddy. This is potentially the start of greatness that I know Carolina fans see it, but around the country, I think everybody's sleeping on South Carolina potentially.
You're talking to the guys about this next month is really going to determine how the season's looked at.
Yeah, I think every coach in America uses the "they remember November" thing. I think that's kind of universal as a coach. You say that. I was hearing that back at Tennessee back in 2001 when I was a GA for Philip Fulmer. He used to say it. But certainly we talked about it before this week, David, in that we've done a lot of really good to this point, and we've certainly had some heartbreaking losses and disappointments, but this team will be judged and remembered by November, and it's very true with this group as well. I told them the story last week that, I think back to 2 years at South Carolina where we were and where we finished were different. I think back, I told them the story about 2007. And we were 6-1 and ranked, I think, 13th in the country, and went up to Chapel Hill, or 5-1, went up to Chapel Hill, beat North Carolina up there, came back the next week, had an ungodly amount of penalties, and lost to Vanderbilt at home. Didn't win a game the rest of the year. Lost to Clemson on the last second field goal, and didn't go to a bowl game. And we were 6-1 in the middle of October and ranked 13th. And then I told them the story that most of them were here, but a lot of them weren't. 2022, nobody thought we were worth a flip after that Florida game, and then we come back and have two of the wins that people will remember around here forever. And the way that team is remembered is because of what happened in November. The way the 2007 team is remembered, good or bad, is because of what happened in November. So we know that we have 5 games to finish the season, and it's all out there in front of us. So we don't talk about big picture other than that, and what matters. What matters is this week, just having a 1-0 mentality and doing everything we can this.
All right, Shane. So again, well, real quick, shout out cousin Kevin. He just became a member of the channel. We appreciate you, brother. But thoughts on what Beamer had to say there, Shane, as I throw up South Carolina's schedule again. Yes, A&M, you're an underdog, but only by a slight margin here. It kind of shocked me, Shane, when this line came out. It's A&M right now by only favored by 2. If you were to tell me that South Carolina beats A&M, which I'm not predicting, but I'm saying if I knew that, at Vanderbilt after that, Missouri at home, which may or may not have their quarterback, Wofford at home, at Clemson, if I know they're good enough to beat A&M, red hot A&M, maybe the hottest team in the country, they could beat all these teams. Yeah. And they're sitting here 9-3, and hell, playoffs. I mean, who knows? At 9-3, if they're that red hot, they might be in the conversation. And if not, they're probably going to be the highest ranked team that didn't make the playoff.
Yeah, I don't know about playoffs, but I do know that this is a team that, like I said, is very, very dangerous. Shit, just watch the Oklahoma game, Mike. I mean, they didn't just beat them, they destroyed them. And this defense, this may be the best defense Texas A&M has faced. And, again, it's easy to be confident, it's easy to be cocky, and until you're punched in the mouth. Trust me, those 22 seasons, I know firsthand what he's talking about. Tennessee Vols, I mean, we win that game, we're going to the playoffs, and we didn't. We folded. We got destroyed in that one. So you just got to be careful. If this season's taught us anything, Mike, you can never take a Saturday off. And this is a game that I feel like is going to be absolute electric. They know. Columbia, they know what they got in hand up there.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about for the other side, Shane? Mike Elko was asked, you're going to go with Marcel Reed? You're going to go with Connor Wigman as a starting quarterback? He said, basically, I wouldn't even tell you if I knew. You know what I mean? Like, why? There's no advantage to doing that, so I get it. But which way do they go? I mean, you sense it has to be Marcel Reed with how he played against LSU, but I never would have thought they took Marcel Reed off the field in the first place. Yeah, and I never would have thought that Connor Wigman would come in and been so impressive against Missouri. Now, again, that was just one game, but is this more challenging than it appears at face value, Shane? Because, again, the way I am told, and this is straight from Billy Lucci, I think he said it on the show, I mean, this was not even like a close competition. This was Connor all the way. I like Marcel Reed. I don't want to say had no shot to start the opener, but that was the gap between these guys.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Connor Wigman's healthy, guess what? He's a starter again. So do you think this is a difficult decision at all, or do you think it's just so obvious that it's got to be Marcel Reed?
No, I don't think it is Reed. I'm telling you, I think there's a good shot. You see Connor out here, and you talk about a luxury is having these two cats, two guys that have shown the ability to win football games, tough football games against tough opponents. That's a luxury, Mike. So the last time we were so confident Reed was going to be the quarterback, guess who stepped out on the football field and had him a heyday? It was Connor Wigman. So use it. Absolutely. There's no other team that has this ability right now. And it's like he said, you don't have to let them game plan for Reed all week and then Connor come out and steal the show. So I feel like this is, I don't want to say it's a coin toss. I honestly, if I was I like to gamble, Mike. You know me, my bookie. Come on, they're doubling you up right here. And if I were putting money on it right now, I say Connor takes that first snap.
Ooh, buddy. Yeah, I mean, man, I'm just torn on it. But how about this? I thought this was a great comment.
Marcel Reed is a great guy. He's a great player, and he was exactly the lightning bolt they needed. But let's not forget, he only had 2 passes during that football game, Mike.
Right.
One of them was a really long run. I get that. But I feel like Connor can still offer you a best of both. And I feel like that's what this offense really needs to take it to the next level. But don't give up on Reed. If you bring him out here, he's obviously got to have more of a passing threat.
Right. And to your point, Shay, we shouldn't be so overreaction to one game.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to the Florida game. I mean, Marcel Reed was very good in it, but just from my memory, I remember like 2 or 3 big time throws. Mm-hmm. They were mostly run dominant there. Bowling Green was not impressive. Arkansas, quite frankly, was not impressive till now they really got going in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So, there might be something to what you're saying here. And again, if you throw Wigman out there and he doesn't light the world on fire, all of a sudden you got this elite athlete. And he's not just an athlete. I mean, hell, he can throw the ball.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to prepare for that, I would think. You know what?
You can't. I mean, honestly, you can't. You have to spend time. I think you have to spend more time on containing quarterback, The saving grace is South Carolina secondary is just juggernaut themselves. So, I mean, I think if you're spending more time on a quarterback, even though I just told you I felt like Connor's going to do it, I feel like you got to prepare more for Reed just because you saw what could happen if you're not ready for a scramble.
And of all the Texas A&M doubt thrown out by this man this season, that man over there, the one he's always pointed at here is Colin Klein. How about I thought this was pretty interesting from Coach Elko here on how what a great job Colin Klein, the offensive coordinator, has done managing this situation, managing the game plan. Let's kick it over to him.
He still works
Mike,
there.
what goes into the decision that you made in the third quarter on Saturday? Had you already discussed that at halftime with staff? Is that totally your decision? How does that come about when you decide to make that switch?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it's my decision. I think, Colin and I kind of go into every week and he comes up with the plans, but I think, we have to have a plan for Marcel ready at all times because you never know injury-wise how the game's going to play. And so, like, we go into the game and Connor's our starter and we develop a game plan around Connor in the best way we think Connor can attack LSU, but then you also have to have in the back of your mind, okay, well, what happens if Connor goes down and Marcel's got to go out there and win us this game? Like, what does that look like? And so I think it's a credit to Colin that he's able to do that in a way that doesn't create a lot of volume for our offensive players. It's real subtle tweaks and differences that you can change that don't change a lot for a lot of people. So it's not like we're practicing two completely different offenses. We just have enough wrinkles within our system that we can tailor it to who the quarterback is. And so you have that plan ready and you know it's there. So then when the offense isn't firing or isn't being efficient enough, and you feel like you have an opportunity to try to inject some life into the game, that's kind of what you do.
So what's your confidence level, Shay? Last thing I got on this one. What's your confidence level that this is the best game in the SEC this weekend, A&M at South Carolina?
It's up there, Mike. I feel like there's two games this week that are going to be really good, but this one would be, I think it's a 1A, 1B situation. The thing about this game, though, I feel like there's more to gain, more to lose type thing. I don't necessarily think Texas A&M has a lot to gain, but they lose a lot. They lose that momentum that they currently have. People are starting to buy back in. They're starting to give them the credit they rightfully deserve. It kind of goes out the window if you lose to South Carolina. And I'm not saying South Carolina is a bad team. It's just people. When you look across the country, people do not recognize South Carolina as a good football team. We do because we cover SEC. We know exactly what's up there. But the momentum that they have on the recruiting trail and the media, it kind of gets hamstrung if they drop this game against South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. And this might be stating the obvious here, Shane, but I think it's paramount that South Carolina gets off to a fast start.
Yeah.
If they let A&M jump out to the lead, they start getting that ground game going, I don't think South Carolina is built to come from behind.
Mm-mm.
Now, they have that lead. That's exactly where they want to be, and they want A&M to. You got to try to force A&M to come back from behind. They just did it last week, so they can do it. But I don't think South Carolina can.
No, but it's another program that also has gained a lot of momentum and confidence, and I feel like I think it's going to come down. It seems like I say this every South Carolina game: offense. Just a little life. I feel like if they can get a little life, maybe match some points, that South Carolina could win this game, Mike. So yeah, this will be a fun one.
All right, how about this one? Speaking of fun, buddy, these seemingly always fun here. Shane, Ole Miss, number 19, at Arkansas. Ole Miss, though, is favored by a touchdown. It's an early game here on ESPN, but man, this series has been wild. It seems to go back and forth. Yeah, in fact, the last 4 have all been alternated victories here. So this is a fun series. We've seen a lot of these games go down to the wire. And what's your thoughts on this one? And it's a different one, Shane, because Ole Miss is more of a defensive team this year. Arkansas, when they're on, we know they can play with anybody.
Yeah.
So I mean, this could be the best game of the weekend too.
Is this a night game?
No, that's an early game.
Ole Miss doesn't get night games, do they? Mike, this is my other one. I'm right there with you. Again, some of the same arguments I made with South Carolina. Arkansas can also be a top 25 team. They shot themselves in the foot several times early in the season, but I feel like Green especially is playing some of the best football he's played this entire year. This offense is looking electric. It's almost like as long as we get enough out of the defense, they are another football team that could take Ole Miss, to the ropes. And Ole Miss gets caught looking ahead, because they got some doozies up ahead of them here. Then Arkansas going to punch them right in the mouth.
And remember, these two coaches, Shay, they were hired at the same time.
Yeah. COVID
year was their first full season as head coach at each school. And Arkansas tried to get Kiffin. Mm-hmm. And then he obviously went to Ole Miss, so there's bad blood there. But this is a quick clip here from Sam Pittman. You remember their first win was Mississippi State. That was actually on the road. But then their second one was at home over Ole Miss. And this was after the Chad Morris era where they literally did not win an SEC game for 2 years.
We're not allowed to use those names.
I remember all those things about that. And then I remember walking off the field and fans were crying. And there wasn't many because it was like 7 to COVID, but they were crying. And I asked Kyle why they were crying. He said, "We hadn't won an SEC game here for like 2.5 years." I said, "Okay, well, I'll start."
You gotta start crying too, Shane. So I mean, again, this is a really fun series. This is the one where the quarterback for Ole Miss, I think he threw 6 interceptions in that game he's referencing there. So again, some really good game planning here. We got Bobby Petrino, we got Pete Golding, we got Travis Williams, Lane Kiffin. I mean, this is an elite matchup of offensive and defensive minds going head to head.
Yeah, but it also reminds me of a seesaw. These are two teams that have had some ups and they've had some downs, and they keep going back and forth. So it's like, which Ole Miss are we going to get? Which Arkansas are we going to get? I feel like kind of the narrative in here. It's not so much separation or playoff eliminator or anything like that. It's like we've been told that one team is good and one team is bad, but they have the ability to prove those naysayers wrong this Saturday.
And a lot of the same things I said about South Carolina, Shane, I can say about Arkansas here. They're November. Remember November, Shane. That's the theme of this show. If you're good enough to beat Ole Miss, next week will be, or 2 weeks, it'll be very difficult, but you get Texas at home.
Yeah.
You get Louisiana Tech at home. You get who knows what Missouri's going to look like by the end of the season. I mean, there's a shot, maybe not a great shot, but there is a shot you go undefeated here. And my word, Shane, if they go 9-3, I mean, they're coach of the year. You know what I mean?
If Arkansas, nothing against South Carolina, but if Arkansas goes 9-3, how do you keep them out? Just depend, I guess you would say, on Mizzou. Mizzou's really got to redeem themselves.
Yeah.
But if they beat Ole Miss, Texas, and Mizzou, golly, I mean, you talk about a damn resume. It would be tough for. They would be on the fringe. They may get a really, really good bowl game, but man, what a season that would be.
I mean, meanwhile, Ole Miss can't get caught looking ahead to Georgia. I mean, we already got the coach out here saying, "Well, hell, they won't give us a night game, yada yada yada." But
yeah,
he's already looking ahead to Georgia. Yeah, he was asked a question in fairness, but tough spot for Ole Miss. But again,
look at that roller coaster, Mike. Just you know what I'm saying? They both are up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just going off this, I guess that. Well, either one of them got to win this game. So, you know what I'm saying? One of them's going to lose and continue that roller coaster.
Let me ask you this, though, Shane. If the best version of Ole Miss shows up,
yes.
If the best version of Arkansas shows up, who wins this game, do you think?
Ole Miss.
Really?
Best.
Yep, right.
Best version. I mean.
Now, would that be counting just because we've not really seen them have a ton of offense? And maybe if they get that clicking? Hell, if Ole Miss had an offense this year,
yeah,
and I mean at the level they've had in recent years, they'd be in the national championship hunt.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Defense to defense. We're talking prime Ole Miss defense, prime Arkansas offense or defense. I'm going Ole Miss. Prime offense. You know, I have seen some really good Arkansas drives, and I've seen some really good Ole Miss. I would almost say it's splitting hairs. I still would give Ole Miss a slight edge there. That's with the healthy Trey. That's mainly health. Health is concerned. But I think they're right there at it. And the problem is we don't have that consistency. And that's why you can't just say, well, best version. Yeah,
right.
Obviously that would happen, but I don't know if we're going to see the best Ole Miss, you know. And if that happens, Arkansas is going to win.
Right, and then here's a critical thing. Taylen Green, he's playing better and better.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what Sam Pittman had to say on his progression. If he continues this way, they're a team to watch in this November.
Heading into Tennessee, Taylen was hovering around 55% completion rate-wise. The past 3 games, all over 65%, up near 70. Just how have you seen him continue to develop efficiency-wise throughout the season?
I think people around him have played better. And, you know, when you run the ball and your play action becomes better and your time to throw the football and to get open becomes better. But I think he's just playing really confident right now. I think Saturday helped him as well. We ran him a little bit more Saturday than what, you know, obviously our plan wasn't against Tennessee. We didn't want to, you know, he wasn't at full strength that game. But I think his confidence is just going up, and we're learning more about what he can do what he likes to do. But I thought, just when you said that, I thought there was a couple of runs that, he hit. And then I thought his pass to Jordan Anthony was really, really a really good pass there. And his 4th and 2 that he made, 4th and 2 that he went 45 yards on, but we got the 2 yards. I thought that was an outstanding play as well. But I think he's just playing really confident because of the guys around him. I think are playing even, playing better as well.
Hey, shout out real quick, Shane Cousin JP. He just gifted a membership here to John K. Kentucky Blue.
Nice.
Welcome,
Junkie
John.
Blue. That's what I thought it said there for a second. We got a few junkies on here. I appreciate it, Johnny. Welcome to the family.
Yeah, welcome. I was just thinking, man, you got to be blue to be a Kentucky fan right now. You know what?
Yeah, they kind of dodged me. We got the big bourbon bet coming up, and I've got a few reaching out, but I've got a few dodging me, man.
But again, I mean, let's say Taylen Green continue. I mean, I think how can he not have a ton of confidence?
Yeah.
6 touchdowns last week. Yes, it was Mississippi State. They have the worst defense in the conference, but that is he's clearly clicking in this Bobby Petrino offense. I mean, if this is a high-scoring game, I have more confidence in Arkansas to win it than I do Ole Miss.
Because they've done it. They've done it. We thought Ole Miss would give us that. Hell, after them first 4 weeks, I like that comment somebody put up there earlier. I felt like this is what was going to continue when we hit SEC play, and we've not gotten it, man. And I get it. They've played some really good defenses, but they've had opportunities to really open this thing up, and they've not done it. So yeah, a shootout. Give me Arkansas.
Thorin says he'll bet you 2 fireball shooters the UK wins.
I got some. They're saying, "Hey, we got to start putting basketball in this thing."
All right, how about this one, Shane? Big rivalry here down in. Oh no, where's it at? Oh, here we go. Jacksonville, Shane. Number 2, Georgia versus unranked Florida, but you could argue Florida's hovering right around that top 25 range. They're playing better and better themselves. 16.5-point spread in favor of them dogs. But again, Shane, I said A&M's number 1 in the conference in scoring in league games. Guess who's number 2?
Florida
Gators, 32.5 points per game for them Florida Gators. I mean, that's remarkable. If only they had, and their defense is actually playing better and better. But if DJ Lagway, that each of these teams have had 2 weeks to prepare, I would think if you're Georgia coming off that big win, you would have liked to keep that momentum going.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Florida seemingly getting better and better each week. I guess you could say the same thing for them, but with a new quarterback, I think having 2 weeks to prepare, that's probably right where they want it. Is there any shot? Not calling for an outright upset or anything right this second. We still got the pick show to come. But is there a shot that Florida, if they continue to improve, can make this a ball game?
Mike, I was about to ask you, is there a chance that we're sleeping on this football game? I mean,
I think so.
I'm telling you, Florida is improving. Florida is a better football team than they were week 1, and I feel like DJ is growing up quickly in front of our eyes. And Georgia, I do think that they're arguably the best team in the country. I'm not arguing that at all, but we have seen some letdown games, and this is a prime example of one that could happen. Maybe this is another team that's looking more ahead about what is to. I mean, if you look at Georgia, you got the Ole Miss right around the corner, Tennessee. Those are the 2 games that's saying Georgia is going to give Georgia a fit. Nobody's talking about this one, a rivalry, one of the best rivalries in the country. It just hasn't been there the last few seasons, but it could ramp up real quick if you get punched in the mouth by the Florida Gators.
Right. And to your point, Shane, I got Georgia number 1 in the power rankings. Mm-hmm. I feel very good about that. But hell, 2 weeks ago, I felt pretty good that they were going to lose at Texas. You know what I mean? And that's just the kind of season it's been. And even if you go back and watch that Texas game, yeah, they dominated a lot of it, particularly their defense finally emerged as this elite dogs unit that we know and love here. But there's still a lot of problems with the offense.
Yeah.
There was turnovers. can they run the ball at an elite clip? Trevor Etienne, he's really starting to heat up. So maybe that is no longer a question mark, but maybe that was an outlier. You know what I mean? And again, they got Carson Beck, so you got confidence in him to make the plays when they have to. But I guess the point I'm trying to make here, Shane, is again, they have only looked elite for a little while.
Yeah.
For the rest of the year, it's been very inconsistent. But the problem is, Florida's overall roster is nowhere close to Georgia's. But you just wonder if maybe they could close that gap a little bit because it's a rivalry. It was pretty funny. I wanted to include the clip, but it was just so lame. Shane Kirby was asked, where's this rivalry ranked for you, Kirby? And he said, they're all number one. And I'm like, give us something here. You know what I mean? But it's a rivalry for Georgia as well. But quite honestly, I don't think it's anywhere close to number one for the Dogs right now. Do you?
No, not for Georgia. I think it's up there for Florida. But
oh yeah,
again, they absolutely hate each other. I mean, just look online. I can only imagine. I can't see the comments what they're saying in here if there's some Florida Gator fans running around. But Mike, this is a game that I've got on my bucket list. I've always wanted to watch this one. It's unique. The placement, I'm not big on neutral site games, but I allow this one. And I would love for it to be more evenly matched, because when these teams this should have been the game we led off with. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about them third right now, but that all changes if Florida beats them. Then next year, you better believe this one will be on top of that list.
Hey, how about this comment from JP here? Georgia's defense is healthy and our offense has had 2 weeks to prep. Gators are in trouble. # just don't fire Billy for this. So let me ask you that, though.
Yeah.
Do they obviously every single Georgia fan wants to win, but do they want it to be so lopsided that it puts the pressure right back on Florida to get rid of Napier? Basically, I guess what I'm asking, Shane, is I don't think there's any Georgia fans that are rooting for Napier to get on the hot seat because he's already on the hot seat, but kind of put that nail in his coffin. That I think they want him to stick around, don't you?
I get that. Yeah, I mean Tennessee we're 2-1 the last three. So I kind of
you said it yourself. You're like let Billy's heating up. Let's keep him another year.
I'm a little torn, Mike. I am a little torn because two things. I feel like if you bring in a new coach, there's just a natural letdown the next season. So I feel like if we brought in somebody short of Lane Kiffin and the Transport King, I feel like this is a program that would take a big hit. And have to rebuild and whatnot. You keep Billy around. I mean, you're already starting to see some of this youth emerge on this roster. It'd be nice to pick through it, if you're not, if he did get fired and they could go elsewhere. But if they keep him, who knows, man? Maybe time was what Billy needed, and I'm sure he's got a list of all the dumbasses that said stuff about him, He's probably got like 2 or 3 media guys that he actually likes. He probably won't get in our booth, but Mike, I feel like keeping Billy is better for Florida right now. Just what I've seen here the last 4 weeks.
Right. And we'll change our mind in 2 weeks when he gets killed by Georgia and Texas. You know what? Hey, shout out JP. Man, what a guy. He just gifted another membership, this time to Slobber Hall. Come on. Welcome, Slobber. Hope to see you at the family reunion.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like my nickname growing up. Thanksgiving right around the corner, stealing them deviled eggs. Didn't we have more of those? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, how about the one you've been dying to discuss here, brother? Kentucky at Tennessee, number 7 Tennessee, night game, late game, 7:45 Eastern, SEC Network. Tennessee, a big favorite here. What's the current line here? 16.5 points. Man, all the things going wrong though for Mark Stoops and company.
Yeah,
this is how you win them back, Shane. You beat Tennessee. I mean, I think this is another one of those rivalry type games where I think one side is much more of a hated rivalry than the others, and it's Kentucky that hates Tennessee, and it's Tennessee that just kind of mocks Kentucky. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but hell, I mean, these are the games that can trip up on you. What's your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, Mike, I mean, I strongly debate going to this one. This is obviously near and dear to my heart. Growing up, we had the beer barrel going back and forth. I'd love to see that one back. I think it's been long enough. We should start showing that. But in the meantime, we'll accept the bourbon bet. And I've got 2 or 3 on the ropes right now, wanting to go into this thing. But I ain't gonna lie to you, Mike. There's something about Kentucky. You always get that, like, Tennessee should win. Right? Look at all them damn footballs over there. And you saw what Kentucky did last week. This should not be a damn football game. But the crazy thing is, Mike, there's been a lot of years I've said that, and either A, Kentucky won, or B, it was fought tooth and nail to the bitter end. This is a team, Tennessee and Kentucky, that play better when they play each other, because it does mean more. So this one I feel like people are also sleeping on this one a little bit. They just want to pencil in Tennessee for a victory, and you just can't do that, Mike. You cannot do that in the SEC. Ask Ole Miss about penciling Kentucky in for a loss,
Right, and you could say all you want about how bad Kentucky's offense has been. Mm-hmm. The last 3, they've scored 13, 20, and 10. So, yeah, obviously that's not good at all. But I think the under-discussed storyline is Tennessee. I mean, their last 3, 14 points scored, 23 points, and that was in overtime. They had 17 in regulation, and then 24 against Alabama. So, just based on that, if Kentucky's defense shows up, which is not a guarantee because the last 2, they kind of phoned it in here. But if Kentucky's defense shows up, this is likely going to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
And that's how you keep a team like Kentucky in it.
Yeah.
Because who knows, a tip here, a drop there, a fumble, a block, what a block kick, anything like that can massively swing the momentum in a series like this. And Tennessee, under Heupel, they have dominated this thing. Well, they've dominated under basically every coach except for old Pruitt. But a big part of that, Shane, is their offense and the tempo and throwing the ball down the field and Kentucky not being able to stop it. That has not been Tennessee this year.
Yeah.
So if you take all that out, I don't know. This might be, believe it or not, the first time in a while that this maybe is a decent matchup for Kentucky.
Yeah. I mean, Tennessee's pulling out the stops. They got the dark mode intact here. We like to see those. Going to a funeral, as they like to say here in Knoxville. So, but coming off a bye week, I felt like Nico especially gained a little momentum in the second half of that Bama game. But you wonder, taking that week off, what does that do? Because we've seen some teams really struggle after a bye week. So, yeah, I mean, don't lose what you're good at. You're good at running the football. Tennessee's going to have to get to that, but they got to keep them honest, man. And that comes with Nico and this chemistry he was developing there with those wide receivers. So it's going to be an electric environment, man. I will tell you that, brother.
Who is it more likely to be a November to remember, say Tennessee or Kentucky?
Well, Kentucky. And I'm going to tell you why, Mike, because I think Coach Stoops is fighting for his job right now.
Right.
And if Kentucky continues to play like they've been playing, there is a real shot that they lose 3 of these next 4 football games. You do that, I can't see a reason that you'd bring Coach Stoops back besides, well, the money.
So they're gonna remember it as the end of the Stoops era.
Trust me, if you've been on one of it's hard when you're an Alabama fan or maybe a Georgia fan or something like that, but you've been one of these other programs that have had some lows. You remember those? I mean, I fired off a text to you earlier with Derek Dooley's face. You remember? So it's like you don't forget Derek Dooley. You don't forget, tail end of Butch Jones. So when things go bad, you remember how bad they were.
But again, this is case in point for this season. Any other season, I would have said, yep, Kentucky's going to get hammered here.
Yeah.
But hell, Kentucky has gone on the road and beaten Ole Miss. They're literally the only one that has done that this year at Ole Miss. Tennessee, huge favorite against Arkansas. They looked all out of sorts. And even at home, I thought for most of the game against Florida and for a lot of the game against Alabama. I mean, this is just so unpredictable that I got a feeling this is going to be a lot closer than, all that's going to take is like 2 touchdowns for Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then this is a 4-quarter ball game.
Yeah, or I mean, you could say the same thing about Tennessee. Tennessee gets to 14 points. It may be ball game for Kentucky. So this could be a low-scoring game. Probably will be a low-scoring game. But if one of these teams manage to score 4 touchdowns, whoever that team is wins.
Yeah, and Kentucky apparently they don't even know who the starting quarterback is. Going into November is a bad time to be trying to figure that out. You know what?
No, that's right. The running game's not good. The passing game's not good. The defense, I feel bad for a lot of the defenders I mean, you wonder if you wasted some talent. You know what I'm saying? I never liked doing that, but you ever have those bad years and you're like, golly, I can't believe this kid was here during our bad years. Could you imagine having him now or something like that? There's a lot of Kentucky players over there that I'm watching and I'm wondering, like, they could have really used those kids 3 years ago,
Right. Mr. Bloodline says Jack Daniels beats Maker's Mark this weekend. All right, how about this one, Shane? The final SEC showdown of the weekend here. Got a hell of a lot of interesting last week, Shane, because Auburn finally won a football game, but it's Vanderbilt on the road at Auburn. Auburn, believe it or not, Shane, favored by a touchdown. This is the 12:45 Eastern, 11:45 Central kick here on the SEC Network. And let me ask you this, Shane.
Yeah.
Again, I don't need to say anything more about Hugh Freeze. I've said it all. This is not directed at him. But I am stunned that Auburn is a favorite here. I mean, I think Vanderbilt, just not based on the last 100 years of football, I'm saying of this year.
Yeah.
Which team is the better team? If you take bias out, I don't know how anybody's looking at these two and be like, you know what? Auburn's a hell of a lot better than Vanderbilt. I mean, this is just strictly brand biased, I would think. What's your thoughts on that?
I feel like that. There's a part of me that wonders, is the gig up for Vandy? But then there's a part of me that's reminded that, hey, they were a score away from beating Texas last week. So, no, you can't keep saying that about Vanderbilt and saying, well, it was lucky this happened or it was lucky that happened. Mike, we're in November. Vanderbilt's just a good football team. I feel like Auburn is getting better, though. And Auburn has also had a couple of games that they probably should have won. And maybe that's the way they're looking at it. Again, the Mizzou, I look at the Oklahoma, I look at the Arkansas, there's California. There is a situation where Arkansas did have some balls go their way, and they're sitting there, fringe top 25, if not in it. So I get it. It's on the Plains. It's a tough place to play, but I think you could flip a damn coin in this football game, Mike.
Yeah. Again, I'm not saying like Vanderbilt should be a 20-point favorite.
Yeah.
And hell, it being on the Plains, you're right. Auburn getting some momentum lately. I would be fine if this was like a 1-point spread, a 2-point spread, but a touchdown.
Yeah.
That seems a lot, particularly given. I don't know how much this plays into this year, Shane, but Mr. Diego Pavia's 2-0 against this here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was there.
Well, I was going to say something bad. I've decided not to say it. I'm not going to say it. Well, I'll let Hugh say it for me.
Number one, I'm sick of seeing that quarterback. I've had enough of him, and what a competitor he is, and the job that Clark Lee and his staff have done there. To be in the games and have a chance to win all the games they're playing against the nation's elite is just so impressive. And I don't know, what year is this for Clark? Third or fourth? Fourth year. I do think it speaks to, and I know nobody likes to hear this, but man, good coaches, which there's no bad ones in this league. I mean, you get time to really establish your culture and your locker room and people that believe in your system. You should be, better when that fourth year rolls around for sure. And I think that's definitely happening there. And boy, they're just playing with so much confidence, and they know who they are. One of the scariest things, I mean, you're basically playing Navy. It doesn't look just like Navy, but you're not. I mean, Alabama had 44 real snaps of offensive football against them. Last year when we played him, the first time we touched the ball in the first quarter, I believe, was with 5 minutes and 5 seconds left. That's uncomfortable. And so they know who they are, and they're good being who they are. And
So let me ask you, Shane, again, so they've played now 2 years, 3 years, this will be the third year in a row. It's not obviously Auburn, Vanderbilt, but it's been New Mexico State.
Mm-hmm.
Liberty the first year, last year New Mexico State, Auburn, now Auburn, Vanderbilt. Does that give an edge to one side or the other? Hugh Freeze at Auburn, or Pavia, Tim Beck, and in company at Vanderbilt? Is there one size or is there no advantage?
I would say slight advantage for Auburn, and because the thing about Pavia is it's almost like an element of surprise. You know, it's very tough to practice for this style of offense because you can't really mimic what Pavia brings to the table. But
Right.
the fact that surprises out and you kind of know it. I mean, and I'd say it's slight, man. I think it's minuscule because these are totally different athletes and everything. But yeah, I do think there's a slight edge just from a repeat standpoint.
And I can't believe I'm even uttering these words, Shane, but is there pressure on Vanderbilt? Because if they get this one, they're bowl eligible. And if they don't, they drop to 5-4, and they'll have South Carolina, which, hell, we just said this could be a November to remember for Gamecocks, and they could be coming off an A&M win and just be riding on cloud nine. They go at LSU, and they have Tennessee. And I don't think they're going to be favored. Well, hell, they're not even favored against Auburn. So I'm pretty confident saying they're not going to be favored in any of these games.
Yeah.
So if they don't get it this week, I'm not saying they won't go bowling, but it's going to get less and less likely, I think, each week here, potentially. Is there any pressure on Vanderbilt to get this win so they can get to bowl eligibility?
I don't know. I don't think there's ever. I don't know. I mean, I guess you put it on yourself, but
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's with house money right now. Anything they do is good, but you would definitely like a bowl. You'd like a good bowl, and this is a team that you can beat. And I feel like that's the expectations, you know. And when you look at Vanderbilt, you always feel like because their defense is really, I guess you would say, their Achilles heel, you know, and especially the rush. And seeing what Hunter did last week, you know, I think if anybody's licking their chops, it's him. And there's an opportunity that Auburn could kind of play Vanderbilt ball and just keep pounding it and keep the clock going themselves. The only afraid thing I would say is Vanderbilt likes to keep games close. And if you got a strong offense like a Texas and you know and Ole Miss, some of these football teams, it feels like they got a slight edge because they can score like that. You know, Auburn hasn't really shown us that so far this year, and that would be my biggest concern is just letting Vanderbilt hang in there like they did last year when they played them at New Mexico.
Right, and the difference, I think, Shane, and Diego Pavia is not going to beat the Commodores.
Yeah.
But Peyton Thorne can beat Auburn.
Yeah,
which is a tough spot, you know?
Yeah, and the Vanderbilt, I mean, that's what helped them with Bama was the turnovers. And, you know, we saw it early with Texas and it got crazy, but, you know, Auburn's been really good at protecting the football here lately. But you always, I mean, just because you've done it for a couple of games doesn't mean that pink elephant ain't hanging out in the corner, you know? So you keep waiting for that other moment where your quarterback messes up again, as Hugh Freeze says.
And I'll flip it the other way, Shane. Is there any pressure on Auburn to keep this momentum going? Because I don't care how good and how respected Vanderbilt is more this year than ever. I don't think there's a single Auburn fan that says it's acceptable to lose to Vanderbilt at home under any circumstances. Yet if they do that, buddy, I think any momentum captured from the Kentucky win is just right out the door.
Yeah, bowl. You're fighting for life to make a bowl game here, and you got Vanderbilt, ULM, A&M, and Bama. So
Bama,
you can't lose this week and then expect to win your last 3 games. It's just not. It's not going to happen, Mike. I looked at A&M, Bama. I feel like there's a loss in there, and I feel like there's a close football game. I don't know which one it is right now, but I feel like there is an opportunity to get in a bowl, and then there's one you're going to lose to. So, Mike, you got to have it. And it's just because I'm hearing them, man. I hear the fans, the Auburn fans. I'm hearing the Auburn personalities, the media. This is a game they're expecting to win. And you lose to Vanderbilt, even though you've seen them play these. It's like, yeah, I get it for Bama. Oh, I get they played Texas close, but that's not us. We don't lose to Vandy, but until you're losing to Vanderbilt. So that's the thing is Auburn's got so much more to lose in this football game than Vanderbilt does.
Oh, man, what a guy. What a guy JP is. He's spending his whole paycheck here. We appreciate you. He's gifted one this time to Bradley Rhodes. Welcome to the family, Bradley. Appreciate you, cousin JP. What a guy. He's feeling confident. That's what it is. He's a dog. He knows they're going to beat Florida by 50 this week. He just wants to share the love. You know what?
That's it, man. We got some crazy, we got Uncle Brad. He was the craziest uncle in our family. So he'll fit right in, Mr. Rhodes.
And then we got 2 non-conferences real quick, Shane. UMass at Mississippi State. How we keep letting UMass down in this part of the country, I'll never know. But Mississippi State favored by 18. Anything you'd be looking? Surely we get a win here. We're nearly a 3-touchdown favorite. We need to get some momentum. Got to get that bad taste out of our mouth after losing to Arkansas at home.
Yeah.
But this is a real opportunity to turn the tide around. And who knows if you could. The final 3 after this, Shane, at Tennessee, Mizzou at home, at Ole Miss. I hate to say this because 4-8 is never an acceptable record at Mississippi State. But if you could win 2 of the final 3, after UMass, after what we just went through, I think I think fans would be happy with that.
Yeah, I feel like there's that sense, if you've watched any Mississippi State games, you see it. This is a team that's improving and has got promise in the future. But, yeah, you talk about taking a big step back is losing to UMass, one of the worst football teams in the country. The goal for this week, Mike, is to not talk about Mississippi State. Because if we're talking about you, then you lost that damn football game, and you shouldn't because you're right. I think the biggest thing for Levy and company is getting an SEC win. And just killing UMass shows us that they have improved and that they have an opportunity to knock one of those off.
And this final month of November for State, it's all about momentum heading into the offseason, going to next year.
It's what you're selling to recruits, man. Just show them, hey, you could play immediately, and look the style of offense you're going to play. Look at the style of defense we're going to. You're putting film out there, whether you like it or not. This is something that you can show the kids that they can bring when they show up to campus.
Right. And then last one, Shane, hopefully this could not be a game, Shane. Oklahoma hosting Maine here. They're not even putting this game on TV. It's that bad. But anything you'll be looking for from the Sooners, aside from probably a more offensive production? I liked what we saw in the first half against Ole Miss. We got to get that for 4 quarters against Maine.
So you can't. What is it? You got to watch this on ESPN Plus or something? What is
it?
Yeah. Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that sucks. Yeah. Don't schedule Maine anymore. Good gosh, you should never not be able to watch an SEC game. But yeah, this one. I felt like even though they lost last week, something we talked about, it was like there was moments that we saw a little life in that offense. They still got a long ways to go, but this is a good chance to really stretch that and get some confidence, maybe get some receivers back. Good God, I'd love to get some damn targets, and the defense, maybe just shut them out. It's similar to what I said about Mississippi State. It's probably best we don't talk about this one, because if we do, then we're probably firing Venables the next day.
Bobby G, cousin Bobby, he says old school, radio only for this one.
You just get everybody in the living room. Get one of those guys that talks like the 30s too. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Skittle says if Oklahoma loses, does Venables get fired? I think so.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they lose, you have to fire him. I don't care what. I mean, he's hanging on right now. Hell, he may be fired and we don't even know it. I'm just saying, this is not a league that you can wait around. You know, and if you are going backwards, it's not like it's his first year coaching, Mike. If you are going backwards and we're starting to see what is it, digression? Is that how you'd say that?
Regression?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I learned a new word today, Mike. If we see regression, then yeah, you've got to pull the rope. But I don't know. Firing your coordinator was like a. It bought you a little time,
right?
But you hired the guy, so I got to see more improvement. And then, you can't be can't believe we're even talking about this. This cannot be a football game, Mike. I just want to find out Sunday that they killed him.
And even this though, Shay, I mean, they'll beat Maine.
Yeah.
If not, we're nuclear meltdown here. We might do 10 emergency shows back to back to back for 10 hours. But what happens if they beat Maine? They turn around. Mizzou's banged up. The way I hear it, Shane, I don't even think Brady Cook's going to be available for that game. So, but let's say Mizzou still wins. That's going to be a big game for them. I don't think that's unrealistic that Missouri can win it. And then they turn around and Alabama at LSU. What if Alabama and at LSU? What if both those teams destroy the Sooners by 28 or more? I mean, I think he may be gone even then. If he's losing 6 out of 7, and really the only 6 meaningful games out of the last 7, I do not know how you turn around and sell that to the fan base, that things are on the up and up.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma, there were some of them, and we even kind of danced around playoff opportunity, and to go from that to not making a bowl game, that's regression. And that will get you fired. So, I mean, just the way everything was handled, from the quarterback situation to the health, the strength and conditioning. I know it's all things that you may be able to control, you may not be able to control, but there's good conditioning coaches out here that keeps teams healthy. And then they're
asking about his buyout. It's $44 million, so it ain't cheap. But that's why you joined the SEC, for all these riches. You know what?
Can you file bankruptcy on that?
All right, buddy. Anything else before we hop off the line?
No, man. I again pumped up about the reunion tomorrow. So be sure to check on their cousins right after. You'll get that link. We'll jump on, do a little Zoomy action, and I don't know, talk about candy stories. So it's very laid back. If you've ever been in one, we're laid back. There's no agenda. We're just kind of hanging out like we're at the campfire talk and drinking some cold beers and swapping stories. So I look forward to seeing everybody there too.
Right. So tomorrow, mailbag shows,
Yeah.
Steven's predictions. We'll have double shows. Don't forget, as always, brought to you by MyBookie, the online sportsbook. MyBookie.ag is the web address. Promo code THAT, SEC, THAT, over at MyBookie. They give you an instant deposit match, $50 minimum. You can have $100 in your account with just 50, or all the way up to 1,000. You can have 2,000 using that promo code THAT, SEC. But that's going to do it for this episode of the show. Appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate you, Shade, even though you're late. We'll catch you on the next one.
See you guys. Go Vols.